Hey vinyl community, welcome to Wednesday. And I don't know when I'm uploading this, so that's kind of a point of reference, I guess, for no other reason. My dog and I have something in common. We're both sick. So if you hear hacking in the background, that's my dog. I assure you, she's alive and well, just has a bit of a cold. And I have a terrible throat infection / cold. So if my voice starts to crackle, I can't speak for my dog, but I can speak for me, that I did go through puberty 35 years ago, and I have kids to prove it. So I hope the voice holds out. Like I said, I had a really rough night at work with the voice giving out. If you find me drinking coffee annoying, it's going to be extra annoying today. So I apologize for that in advance. So I got the voice. Yeah, it's a bad throat infection. But I have a little bit of time now. This is why I have to film this video now, so I apologize for that. In fact, this is the second time I've filmed this video. I filmed this video earlier today, and I took an excessive amount of drugs, cold medicine, and other things. And I very rarely rewatch my videos, and because I kind of felt it was really this nonsensical, and it was. So I'm going to try to keep this video. I don't know if I can make a video less wordy than I normally do, but I'm going to try to be a little bit more coherent. Because God, that first attempt was just, that was embarrassing. So anyways, I'll try to keep it together here. Mostly vinyl today, for those of you who like vinyl finds. A couple non-vinyl finds, which I'm going to show you right now. Just one cassette. I've been showing you a lot of cassettes lately, but I just had one find. Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. I have nothing to talk about with Bon Jovi. No feelings either way. Just something to round out the cassette collection. A couple CDs that I'm really excited about. This one, Neil Young. This is Live 1968 Sugar Mountain, Canterbury House. And what I didn't realize is when I got to my car, this has a bonus disc, which is a DVD. So I don't know what's on it. I don't know if it actually says what's on the DVD. And by the time you see this video, I will have watched it, because when I'm done with this video, I'm going to play it. And watch, with my luck, I'm going to go into bed, take some more cold medicine, and watch this DVD. And with my luck, it'll be a 5.1 mix. And I don't have a 5.1 system. So, anyways, regardless, like I always say, pick up these CDs, especially ones like this. CDs are going to come back around. So you find them for $1, $1.50. Damn good value. We're going to talk about this gentleman for 1 second, once I take a coffee. Jack Green. This is an album called Humanesque, and I've talked about Jack Green in the past. I know I have. Jack Green was a UK guitar player. I can't remember. He was in a band, a big band, and then he played in the later version of T-Rex, the kind of last version of T-Rex before Mark Bolan passed away. And for whatever reason, he released his first solo album, Humanesque, and it broke huge in Western Canada. Of all places, this one little pocket, he had massive success. He had a hit single with the song Babe. If you go on YouTube, you can type in Jack Green Babe. You can listen to it if you want. It's an amazing power pop album. If you like the Knack, behind you there. If you like the band I'm listening to now called The Kings, one of Canada's greatest kind of power pop rock bands, you'll like Jack Green. And really quickly, this CD, there's some joker right now on eBay who wants $114 Canadian. I always talk Canadian dollars, by the way. It's not worth $114, but I do pick this CD up whenever I see it, because I remember when it was deleted by BMG RCA Records, I bought up whatever remaining stock my store had. Because I did know at the time even, that it was a very rare CD to find outside of Canada. But when I find them at thrift stores, I do pick them up because depending what the market is, I've sold them for $50, $60, $70. But right now I'm sitting on 4 of them. So one of those really rare tips I'll give you, pick this up if you see it at thrift stores. And I'm going to speak to Canadians here, because it's going to be really rare you find this outside of Canada. But anyways, Jack Green, Humanesque. Really great album. And like I said, if you see it, pick it up. If you want to keep it, great. If you want to flip it, you're going to get a few bucks for it. All right. Last video, I talked about some albums, some British blues albums I found, or I bought from a guy actually. And I was mentioning at the time that he had all these Beatles records that people were like jumping on, and then he had these other albums that I got to first. And I went for those Yardbird albums, those Peter Green albums. And I was saying that, well, I find Beatles albums quite frequently at thrift stores, and I don't bother with that stuff. Those are for other people. And then lo and behold, since last video, what did I find? I found a Beatles album for $2. A copy of Help. I don't know what pressing it is. I didn't look at Discogs, but it has a really thick spine. The catalog number is up in this corner, and it has blue text. This is nerd stuff now. Some people like this stuff. The copy I have already has purple text, and the catalog number is on the other end. So I don't know what copy it is. I don't know what version this is. Because it has file under Beatles, I have a feeling this is either a first or early pressing of the Beatles' Help. So I found that. That was a pretty exciting find. I'm going to play test these and see which one I'm going to keep. I'm only going to keep one of them. I have this horrible tendency whenever I find a duplicate copy of something, and my wife kills me for this. I always, and I want to flip the other copy, I always flip the better copy, and I keep the lesser copy for myself. I don't know why that is, because you're probably yelling stupid at the screen, and it's warranted. But when I do record fairs, I never want to have anything less than good condition vinyl, because God knows there's enough vendors out there that have complete shit quality, and there's no quality control. I like to have a modicum of quality control. So I always end up selling my good copy, which I'm going to stop doing as I stop. I'm kind of winding down doing record fairs. I've been saying that for years now, but I am kind of winding it down. It's a lot of work. I'm going to start keeping the good copy. You know, I think I'm entitled to that. And that went nowhere. This is something my wife found. See, here's the thing. I never go thrift store shopping on weekends because everyone goes weekends. Everyone has the weekends off for the most part. And everyone's going used record shopping, or they're going to thrift stores. And then people say, I never find records at thrift stores because you're going weekends. Everyone's there. But I'm sorry if I'm being extra annoying touching my face. This is a horrible, horrible throat infection. Sorry. But my wife and I went we went grocery shopping. And we passed by a thrift store, and she was looking for luggage for her trip to London that she's taking without me. And she found, I don't think she found any luggage, but lo and behold, they put vinyl out, which never happens on weekends, generally speaking. But in this one thrift store, records were in different parts of the store, and I'm dropping the record now. And my wife comes running up to me with this album that she found for me. And I had found a bunch of other stuff too in this other part of the store. But she found me a copy of Kraftwerk, The Man Machine. This is the second time that I found a copy at a thrift store in the last year or so. This is an original Canadian Capitol Records pressing. So that was exciting for a Sunday. That never happens. In fact, that haul that one Sunday was pretty amazing. So, yeah, like I said, I always prefer to go during the week. Weekends are just, it's like, I don't want to fight that battle. But yeah, Kraftwerk, The Man Machine. It's, yeah, the fines are still coming. I apologize if I'm repeating myself, because my short-term memory's gone. I don't know if I've said this already. But it's very, I've been thrift store shopping on and off for 10 years. And it's almost like clockwork. The good finds stop first snowfall. People stop moving, generally. They stop cleaning house. They stop cleaning out their garage. So you're happy with whatever scraps you get during wintertime. And then when the snow melts and spring hits, then that's when the vinyl finds pick up again. But it hasn't stopped. This is the best December, January I've ever seen at thrift stores for vinyl shopping. So I'm just constantly amazed. I keep on thinking it's going to stop, and it never does. So, yeah, copy of Beatles Help and Kraftwerk, The Man Machine. And then Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizards. I'm not sure if I showed this last video. I don't think I did. If I did, I apologize for that. But this is an original Mercury Records pressing from Canada. And the copy I have is the later Mercury Records with the building, the tower buildings. This one plays absolutely amazing, so I'm going to keep this one, and the other one I'm going to kind of pass along. But I found a copy of Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizards, a really, really nice original copy. And it has that weird, I talked about this with that Deep Purple album last video. It's got one of those in those flip albums. You open it up and you got it's like origami to get at the album. It's one of those covers. You never know what side it's going to come out of. Anyways, Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizards. I got some metal albums, which is another rare thing. You very rarely find metal albums, but I found a sealed copy of a band called Racer X. I have Racer X CDs, but I've never seen one of their records, and this one's sealed. I'm very dubious of finding sealed vinyl from the 80s because you're risking finding warped albums inside. And unlike now, records in the 80s, they weren't 180 grams. So they're more prone to warping. And this whole 180 gram, 200 gram thing, I could make a whole video on that nonsense. Anyways, Racer X, if you don't know, Paul Gilbert, one of the greatest guitar players of our time, if you're into that kind of metal. And then Scott Travis, who later went on to be in Judas Priest and still is in Judas Priest. He did that amazing intro to the song Painkiller. And other guys. But Racer X, what they're best known for is if there was a sport in the Olympics for speed playing, that's what Racer X prided themselves on, was they were fast. And that's what they wanted. They were the fastest band in LA. But they do a lot of that Bumblebee kind of guitar playing, like, and a lot. And I do have a like for that kind of stuff. But within all that kind of speed Olympic playing, there are songs. Some of the song titles are stupidly ridiculous. But this is their first live album. I haven't said this. It's called Extreme Live. In between those ridiculously fast solos, there's actual songs. And a lot of them are really good songs if you can get past all that fast guitar playing. Some of the song titles are really ridiculously titled. But like I said, there are good songs on Racer X albums. You gotta kind of get through all that speed playing to get to them. Racer X, sealed. I was excited about that one. Rainbow. I found a copy of, if I can get to it, the first Rainbow album, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. This is a reissue. Both of these are. I'm gonna guess these are late 70s, early 80s pressings on Polygram. But Richie Blackmore's Rainbow first album. These are albums I have already, and like the Beatles, I gotta play test and see which ones I'm going to keep and pass along. So that was a pretty cool find. And Long Live Rock and Roll. Once again, this is like I said, I'm gonna guess early 80s reissue of this one. Some finds from yesterday. Like I said, I posted this on that YouTube vinyl community, so if you're on that forum or on that page on Facebook, you'll have seen some of these. Like I said, I don't show everything because I need a reason for you to come and click on the video. But you'll have seen some of these. I found a copy of Peter Tosh, Mama Lion. Mama Africa, Mama Lion. Is that a band, Mama Lion? Could be. Mama Africa. Trust me, this is a lot less nonsensical than the first try of this video. I'm a hell of a lot more coherent, trust me. So if you think this one's babbling, you should have seen that last one. Mama Africa, Peter Tosh. I was really excited about this one. I have not heard this album. This is from 1983. It's an original kind of EMI America pressing. Of all the reggae albums I find, Peter Tosh probably makes up 90% of them. He must have sold a lot of albums. I wasn't aware of that fact. Anyways, that's not here nor there. Mama Africa, Peter Tosh, I found. I've talked about this band before. So I'll try not to repeat myself, but since the last time I found this, I probably have another 500 subscribers or 400, I don't know. But so a lot of you don't know this album. It's a band called the Perth County Conspiracy, and it's an album called Does Not Exist. This is an original 1970 pressing. The second one I found in the last 6 months or so. This album is worth way more outside of Canada than in Canada. You can find this album in Canada, or their albums in general, somewhat consistently. But if you look on Discogs, their albums sell for a lot. Always outside of Canada, because you put these out at record fairs, you put them out at used record stores, and people charge Discogs prices. And people just flip by them, because it's not the hardest album to find in Canada. But like I said, if you kind of put this in the open market outside of Canada, they do go for a lot of money. It's a great mishmash of weirdness. It's rock, folk, it's definitely psychedelic. And then in the middle of it, you'll have children telling stories. It's just weird. And weird is relative, because you could probably listen to really screwed up music and this wouldn't be weird to you. But 1970, for 1970, anyways, if you don't know this band, the Perth County Conspiracy, give them a listen. Just an amazing, weird band. And I don't know what else is. I think I've explained more about them in a previous video. But anyways, whenever I see one of their albums at a thrift store, etc., it's really exciting, because it's really great music, and I usually kind of pass these along to friends of mine who don't know them. Nazareth. I'm gonna take a look at the time quickly, because I don't want to go too long today. All right, Nazareth. Damn, sorry, some of these I didn't take the price tags off, sorry. Anyways, these were $2. Malice in Wonderland, an album I did not have. And I feel like I'm repeating myself from a previous video, but a lot of people think Nazareth are Canadian. They're not, they're Scottish. But they were so popular in Canada. And here's the thing about Nazareth. 10 years ago, 50 years ago, maybe not even that long ago, Nazareth albums were so common, that you just kind of passed by them at record fairs and thrift stores, etc., because they sold so many albums in Canada that their albums kind of became white noise. You just saw them everywhere, and then all of a sudden, in the last few years, their albums, you go to record fairs now and used record stores, and they're charging 4 or 5 times what they used to, and their availability is still the same. You still find them everywhere, but I don't know if that's the advent of Discogs or what's happening, but their albums have just skyrocketed. People want stupid money, and their albums are worth way more in Europe than in Canada, oddly enough, because I think per capita they sold way more in Canada. Anyways, just some Nazareth information for you. Anyways, Malice in Wonderland, a band that's, their albums have super skyrocketed, even for the most common albums of theirs. Whenever I find classic 80s albums, I pick them up whenever they're super clean, and this album I would consider a classic 80s album. I always have friends looking for super clean copies of these albums, because generally speaking, people play the shit out of them. But a really nice copy, sorry for the price tag, of Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. I mean, it's immaculate. Just glossy, the vinyl's super glossy. I do love Tears for Fears. They're one of my favorite bands from that time. Found a copy of Songs from the Big Chair, just kind of this album sold so many copies that it's kind of irrelevant what pressing it is, but this is an original 1985. Look at that, I was right, 85. Yes, it's 85. A Who album. I'm gonna drink coffee, because I'm not gonna go too long on this Who album. Later Who albums, not my favorite. There's good singles off of albums like Face Dances and It's Hard, that play well in the context of a greatest hits album. But those albums as a whole, not my favorite. But I will pick them up when they're a couple bucks, and that's what I got, Face Dances. This one has You Better You Bet. We all know that song. We're probably all sick of that song by now. Whether I keep this one or not, I don't need to have the whole Who discography. I got the albums I need. And I haven't heard this album in a long time. I'll probably play it through and cringe like I did back in the day. But, yeah, I mean, I'll pick it up for $2. So anyways, The Who, Face Dances. Journey, another band like Nazareth, where there's an increasing interest in their albums. I have a lot of young people asking me for Journey albums. Don't know why. This is one of those bands that whenever I do record fairs, you know, a teenage girl, teenage guy will come up and looking for Journey albums, and they're excited when they find them. And like I said, I don't charge much for them. But anyway, so when I pick them up, anyways, I know there's this increasing interest in Journey for whatever reason. And the young kids are starting to like them. I don't know why. I found a copy of Departure. Really nice, clean copy. Original inner. Not much to talk about Journey, but like I said, that's a trend I'm seeing in the last year or two, is a lot of kids getting into Journey. In fact, when I do my when I DJ 80s music, they're quite big events. We don't like to do this, me and my DJ partner, but sometimes we'll break out a Journey song, and the kids go crazy. And like I said, we try not to play that kind of music, but sometimes the request sheet starts filling up for Journey. We got to throw them a bone. Yeah, so kids go nuts for Journey at DJ nights. My God. A couple of videos ago, I found some indie rock albums. And I'm going to have to cut this short here. I can't show all of them. So that's how good it is. I got to cut this out. I got to cut this short here. A couple of videos ago, I found some indie albums. And when I find indie albums at thrift stores, or I find anything of a genre, a certain bunch of albums, I'll usually go back the next day, because I find a pattern sometimes. They don't get to all the albums, so they'll put a bunch of albums out, whether they're kind of indie rock or whether they're metal. And invariably, the next day or the day after, you'll go back and there's a new batch of those albums out. And you can tell it's the same guy donating. A little tip for you. And this is the case in this one. I found those indie rock albums, if you watch a couple of videos ago. And then I go back and lo and behold, there's more indie albums out. And you can tell it's the same guy who donated them, or girl. But this is a band called The OCs, and the album's called Help. And it's an original pink vinyl, which is a first pressing. And I looked on Discogs, and I posted this on Facebook, and some people lost their minds, like what an incredible find it was. It's worth a few bucks. I'll put it that way. And of all those indie rock albums I found in those 2 different days I found them, I like this one the best. This one's going to be hard to part with. I don't know if I am, because I really, really enjoyed this one. Which is odd, because those other indie rock ones, one was okay. And the rest were kind of eh. But this one, I really, really enjoyed this one. So if you're looking for something, this is 2009, so it's not like it's new. For me, it's new. Investigate this. The OCs, Help. Really good album. I was really surprised. We're going to end at this one. Because I don't want this video to go too long, and I can feel the voice starting to dry up. The Rascals. Some of you might know the Rascals from the 60s, kind of pop band. But they did one album in late 68, 69. They did an album where they went kind of psychedelic, like a lot of bands did. Like the Monkees did Head. I'm not comparing this album to Head, because Head's amazing. But the Monkees kind of went psychedelic, and they made this really good album called Head. The Rascals made their psychedelic album called Freedom Suite. It's a double album, and I found this over the weekend at thrift store. Original Canadian red label Atlantic pressing. Album 2 is their total experimental album. Side 3 is one big drum solo, one big long drum solo. And side 4 is more experimental music, instrumental music, oddly enough. So the first album is more traditional Rascals album, but still kind of psychedelic tinge. But yeah, the album, the Rascals went psychedelic. Freedom Suite, original double album. In other countries outside of North America, this was released as one album. The second album they did not release. And outside of Canada, it was released in a silver foil cover. And in Canada, it was just a white cover. There you go. That's more about this album you need to know. But very interesting listen, I will say that. This is not, if you know the Rascals, this is not the Rascals that you might remember. This is kind of when they really branched out and they tried to make something different. Good for bad, at least they tried. Anyways, there's a little Felix Cavallari right there. There you go. I'm interested to watch this video back, which I never do, just to kind of see how rambling I was, but I'm going to bet this is a lot better than my last attempt. Whew. And as we got through it together, thank you, everyone. One more drink of coffee before I lose my voice. Yeah, I really don't have much else to tell you other than thank you for watching my videos. I always say that, and it always I never want it to sound insincere, but I really appreciate it. This is the only chance I have to talk to other vinyl people. So thank you. It means the world to me. I've said that many, many, many times, and it's not a tagline. It's something sincere to you all, and I love watching your videos. And by the way, I'm really, really far behind commenting on some videos, but replying to comments. I'm sorry. I'm back to work, and it's just really frustratingly busy right now. So I try to at least like your comments so you know I'm there, I'm reading it. But finding time to sit down and reply to your comments is proving difficult right now. I will have time. When my wife goes away, I'll have too much time on my hands. But yeah, so please don't think that I'm ignoring you. I know some other YouTubers I know have said the same thing that I'm saying. Please don't take that as a slight. It's just time. Yeah, it's not really on my side lately, so life is very busy. So yeah, I do read your comments, thank you, and I'm catching up on a lot of your videos right now. So thank you very much for watching, and rest assured I will watch your videos. Anyways, we made it through it. One last time. Take care, everyone. This has been David Michael, and I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.